All right, welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. Enjoyed his work for many, many years in Sports Illustrated, and now a weekly columnist for The Athletic. He's written 8 books, New York Times best-selling author 8 times, 8 books, Football for a Buck, The Crazy Rise and Crazier Demise of the USFL. The author, Jeff Pearlman, here on the show. How are you, Jeff?
I'm well.
What do you have there on your lap?
I have a gift for you here.
Well, okay, what do you have?
This is a T-shirt.
Yes.
And the logo is the San Antonio Gunslingers. And it's the greatest, worst logo in pro football.
It sort of is, yeah.
It's like Woody on crack is how one of the team players. But I would like to present this to you.
I appreciate that. A nice green San Antonio Gunslingers shirt, and it says, what, Big Paper on the back?
So one of their star players, one of the stars of USFL was this guy, Greg Fields, whose nickname was Big Paper, and was with the LA Express. John Hadel was the head coach, and he cut Big Paper. And Big Paper reached across the desk and punched him in the face. And the team ended up hiring Liberace's security guard because he was calling in death threats to the coach. Long story. But he ended up with the Gunslingers. And he followed the owner of the Gunslingers home with a baseball bat after he stopped paying players and walked away with $17,000 in cash. So, Big Paper.
Wow. I told you there'd be good stories about this one. Where is Big Paper today? Do we know?
Yeah, we do, because no one could find him. But my son, Emmett, is 9 years old, and we tracked him down. We had 2 addresses. Me, my 9-year-old kid, Big Paper, who hit his coach with the or threatened his coach.
Yes.
Wound up at a Sacramento shopping mall eating Cold Stone Creamery in a food court, having a great conversation about the USFL.
So you and your son tracked down Big Paper.
Bad parenting moment for me.
Not the son, let's go track down a man who once followed an owner with a baseball bat and got $17,000 in cash. Did you tell your son Big Paper's story?
I did. He knew all about Big Paper. And we actually, I hate to say, we had 2 addresses. One of them was deep in the projects, and the other was not in the project, but I had him walking all over, so, we found him.
Hey, this is father and son stuff they'll never forget. They'll never forget. And, it's amazing to me, just again, reading stories like this and seeing Jim Kelly, Steve Young, Reggie White, Doug Flutie, Herschel Walker, Mike Rozier, all people.
Sam Mills. Right,
who played in the USFL, just for starters. Mm-hmm. And the coaches, too, that were there as well. Like legitimate, serious, big-time coaches who were either previously head coaches in the league or became head coaches.
George Allen, Chuck Fairbanks, Jim Mora, on and on and on. Hugh Campbell,
Correct.
John Hadel. Yeah.
How did this not work? How did the USFL not work, Jeff?
I mean, the first year was 83. They lost a lot of money, but the idea was it's going to be spring football, and you're going to lose money at the beginning. But it's a startup, and that's what's going to happen. And to be honest, and this isn't a political statement, but this is what happened. Donald Trump bought the New Jersey Generals heading into the second season. And in the lead up to buying it, he said, I love the USFL. USFL is great. I love this league. As soon as he gets the Generals, we need to move to fall. This is embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. He had a secret meeting in the Pierre Hotel with Pete Rozelle, the NFL commissioner at the time, paid for the suite, and said to him, I don't really care about the USFL. I want an NFL franchise. What do I have to do to get in the NFL? Basically offering to throw the USFL under the bus if it meant he could get an NFL team. And Rozelle said to him straight up, as long as I'm the commissioner of this league, as long as my family has anything to do with this league, you will never be a part of the NFL.
What he told him to his face?
Told him to his face in a meeting at the Pierre Hotel. And Trump, say what you want. The guy's resilient. He is. He does not stop.
That's for sure.
He convinced the other owners in USFL that fall, the TV deal that would be waiting for them in fall would be massive. And he lied and said that he had meetings with all these fall executives and TV executives, and they were really excited about it. And he was the owner of the biggest franchise in USFL. Washington, it kind of failed. LA, it kind of failed. Chicago, it kind of failed. New York, they had a contract with ESPN and ABC. They had to have a New York franchise. So Trump had an, overvalued sort of presence. Mm-hmm. He convinced the other owners to move to fall. They famously sued the NFL. He guaranteed the other owners they would win the lawsuit. He guaranteed they would win.
And they did.
They won $1.
Times 3. They could have won
$1.3 billion. They won $3.
Okay, so let's put that aside for a quick second. So, do you think now? Again, this is nothing to do with politics at all. Zero to do with politics. Do you think that any of the NFL bashing that the president is currently doing was born out of the moment in that Pierre Hotel meeting that you just told me about? That the NFL said you will never be part of this league.
Oh, I mean, it's preposterous. He tried buying the Baltimore Colts in 1980 and failed. He met with Pete Rozelle, failed. He said he would sue the league, failed. Tried buying the Buffalo Bills, failed. Put in a half-baked effort to get the New England Patriots, failed. for a guy who hates the NFL, he has made repeated efforts to get in the NFL. And I always think that's kind of telling. Also, when he was the owner of the Generals, and this has been documented, he did business during the national anthem. He would be on calls during the national anthem. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure both of us have worked in press boxes during the anthem where you have a call or something, it happens. Mm-hmm. But the whole idea that this is about patriotism is, to me, it's just laughable.
Football for a buck, the crazy rise and crazier demise of the USFL, the author Jeff Pearlman here. But that said, Trump said we will win a lawsuit, and he did. But did anybody see coming the possibility that the damages that they would receive would be one singular American dollar that gets trebled because of the rule?
The check still exists.
Where is that check right now?
Right now, I think it's at the Pro Football Hall of Fame because they have a USFL exhibit right now. It's usually in a bank vault in Memphis. Because the number 2 guy in the league was a guy named Steve Earhart, and he got the check, and he keeps it.
He never cashed it.
No, never cashed it. It's great.
A $3 check.
It was. I think it's $3.76 to be precise.
Why did it get? Why was there only $1?
Oh, so basically what happened is
because if it was a serious amount of money, USFL would have
survived.
Would have absolutely survived.
So basically what happened is this trial goes on, and what they were suing the NFL for, what they were saying is the NFL was monopolizing television, and the NFL was plotting to destroy the USFL. Both those things were 100% true. The NFL was monopolizing fall TV, and they did have these documents talking about what do we need to do to kill this league. Because if you remember, the USFL got 3 straight Heisman Trophy winners, Herschel Walker, Mike Rozier, Doug Flutie. They stole Doug Williams from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They stole Brian Sipe. They got Herschel Walker. Like, it was on and on and on.
What do you mean stole?
No, by stole. Stole is the wrong word. Like, Doug Williams is a perfect example. He was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback. I think he was the 48th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. At the time, there was no unrestricted free agency. There was nowhere to go. Hugh Culverhouse he hated, and Hugh Culverhouse refused to trade him. He had nowhere to go. Well, the Oklahoma Outlaws come along and say, we'll pay you money to come here. Great. The NFL viewed this all as an attack on the NFL. Like, they saw it strictly as this. They are attacking us. They're making this hard on us. Salaries are skyrocketing because we have to match. So the NFL is going out of their way to kill off the USFL. They want it gone. And they have this lawsuit. And the jury decides, you are right. The USFL is correct. The NFL is monopolizing TV.
Yes.
I mean, the NFL is monopolizing TV. The NFL is going out of its way to kill the USFL. But, and I interviewed one of the jurors about the trial, it was fascinating. But the USFL is its own worst enemy, and moving to fall is stupid. They had they hired an outside research group to present they paid $600,000 for a marketing group to present league owners about fall versus spring.
Yeah.
And this woman gave this long presentation to all the USFL owners gathered around a table and said, the dumbest thing you can do is move to fall. And Donald Trump was the first one to stand up and say, you're full of crap. We need to move to fall right now. It was just preposterous.
So when you interviewed the juror, why did they come up with $1? Why did they do that?
Well, she said they had to. The NFL was guilty, but the NFL didn't actually do anything to cause USFL's ultimate plight. So they gave a reward to them because they were right and guilty, but they just decided to give the minimum reward.
But that's like, hey, I'm going to, I appreciate this,
I get it.
Like, I don't appreciate the service, but I know I got to tip you. Here's 10 cents.
That's basically what it was. Honestly, that's basically what. And the best part is Donald Trump is sitting in the courtroom, and John Mara was the owner of the Giants at that point.
Oh, sure, still.
And he's sitting next to Donald Trump. And John Mara opens up his suit jacket, pulls out his wallet, takes out a $1 bill, and hands it to Trump. It's like the greatest moment ever.
So no wonder he loves bashing the NFL. I mean, this is the ultimate revenge play, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about,
30 years in the making.
Absurdly rich people battling it out.
Right.
Oh, man.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
Jeff Pearlman here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what is your, you've already told me a story about Big Paper.
Yeah.
What is your favorite story from the book, if you could choose one of the many? I mean,
the Chicago Blitz and the Arizona Wranglers were traded for each other after the first season. So the Blitz were George Allen's team. Mm-hmm. And they had they had Tim Spencer and Greg Landry and Tim Reitman. They had good players. And the Wranglers were this crappy team in Arizona that I think they finished 4-14. It was an 18-game season. But the owner of the Chicago Blitz was a guy named Ted Dietrich who lived in Arizona. And he got tired of making 9 3-hour flights via charter jet to Chicago. So he had the teams traded for each other. So all the players in Chicago were traded for all the players in Arizona. And the Blitz became the Wranglers, and the Wranglers became the Blitz. As players said to me, my kids had to drop out of school and move to Arizona. My wife had to quit her job because this guy didn't want to fly 3 hours. So it's the best solution ever. But wait,
Yeah.
the new owner of the Chicago Blitz is a guy named James Hoffman. 2 games into the season, he's walking off the field. The new Blitz are terrible. Their coach is Marv Levy. Marv Levy thought he was getting the good team until he showed up. Nobody told him the teams were traded for each other.
Oh my God, come on.
I swear to God. The owner, it's 2 games in. The owner's walking off the field with this guy, a former Bear named Dan Jiggets.
Oh, he does sports talk radio for years in Chicago.
So Dan Jiggets played for the Blitz.
Sure.
Dan Jiggets and the owner of the Blitz are walking off the field. And Hoffman, the owner, says, yeah, I'm out of here. And Jiggets is like, oh, where are you going? He's like, no. I'm out of here. I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. And Jiggets is like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to own this team anymore. He literally dumped the team on the side of the road and the USFL had to take over. Like he just decided one day, I don't really want to own a USFL team anymore. I think I'm done. And the Blitz were owned. And the GM, the USFL immediately hired all their high-paid staffers. The GM of the Blitz locks himself in his office, calls every media guy in the area and goes, it's crazy what's going on here. Just like nonstop to everybody. It's like the best.
I mean, no wonder you want to write a book on this. Yeah. It's unbelievable. The stories, and it's crazy that this didn't happen like 50, 60 years. We're not talking about the AFL and the NFL. This happened in the 80s, man. And so the equivalent would be, let's say the XFL would call Le'Veon Bell right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Be like, you want to play with us?
Like, you're not being paid by the Steelers. You are not under contract. Why don't we pay you an absurd amount of money? Now, wouldn't you say the NFL would suddenly go, hold on a second?
Yeah.
Right? And try and... So you can't kind of blame the NFL for trying to destroy competition, right?
I mean, the interesting one is Herschel, because you remember, I feel like a lot of people now don't realize he was iconic. Like Herschel Walker coming out of Georgia wasn't just the latest Heisman Trophy winner. He was larger than life. And he was a junior, and the NFL didn't take juniors at that time. So he called the USFL and said, I want to come out of Georgia. You know, he had a poor family, Wrightsville, Georgia. I want to come out. And when they signed Herschel Walker, actually the Dallas Cowboys called Herschel Walker's agent right before he signed with the Generals and said, we think we can get around this whole NFL thing. We don't want you going to the USFL. And Herschel Walker said, it's too late. I already agreed. But it was a giant sort of grenade thrown at the NFL that they signed a junior coming out of college because he didn't do it at that time. So that was war. It was this war.
Well, I just was going through my head as well. The XFL would not sign Le'Veon Bell. You know why? Because he's had an arrest.
Right. He's been arrested.
And you know, they're not going to take those people who have been at all afoul of the law and put them in pads and helmets. It's going to be the clean league.
Just the good guys.
Well, the Alliance, as you know, is they are lockstep with the NFL. I think they want to be in league with the NFL.
I agree.
Well, I mean, Charlie Ebersol has been, you know, everybody in the NFL knows him through his dad for all those years. They got Polian and Polamalu and others.
Spurrier.
Right, Spurrier. I mean, so I think they would like to be, in a way, a minor league for
Don't
the
you
NFL.
think that's a smart way to go? I
Of
actually
course.
think. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to be in business with the people who are, you know, the professional football, I guess, industry?
Right.
That's it.
I always think like it's smart for them to be able to. So you have a quarterback in Omaha who's signed by the 49ers. The USFL would have fought that to the death. To me, the team in Omaha, the best thing they can do is issue a press release and have a press conference saying you saw him here and now you're going to see him there.
Absolutely. Right. And also in the NFL with the practice schedules the way that they are and the offseason the way that it is now scheduled where you can't get your hands on somebody till the middle of April with no European league, you need to get reps and the number of coaches that say they cannot develop skilled position players like quarterbacks anymore. Yeah. There might be a need for the NFL to have another league.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. In the spring that they're not paying for.
Yeah,
right.
It's cheap labor. It's great.
Great to have you here. Football for a Buck: The Crazy Rise and Crazier Demise of the USFL. Jeff Pearlman. That's just a slice of what is here in this book. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks.
This is a lot of fun. Go buy it today.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.